at all different levels. And we have such a very good working and close relationship with our juvenile probation office in Dauphin County. And so when they heard that we were creating this youth board, we had a couple probation officers come to us and say, could we possibly make referral for some of our students to be a part of the youth advisory board? And so we said absolutely. And we had a wonderful success story. This young man came to us in 2010 on probation. He went through treatment. And because of the work that he was doing in our youth board and enjoyed it so much, he completed probation successfully, got his record expunged, and has participated over the last 2 years on the youth advisory board. So it's heartwarming to us because we know that it is making a difference in our children's lives.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Now, last evening, I have to tell you, it was a wonderful event again, as Nate mentioned, and young people randomly had to come up and share and talk about what this meant like for them. But you did something else last night that all the youth appeared in, and under your gambling initiative,
yes,
which was called a freeze mob. You want to talk about that?
Yes. I think a lot of people may have heard about flash mobs, which is kind of a group of people who are in different environments. Sometimes it could be in a street, in a mall, in a shopping plaza, and they kind of come together and do like a synchronized or choreographed dance or skit. A freeze mob is something different. It's kind of a vignette, if you will, of something, and the students are acting it out, and then someone calls freeze, and the students effectively stay where they're at. We've enhanced the freeze mob. Stephen White, he's our gambling coordinator for Dauphin County, and he reads a little bit of information on statistics with youth gambling. Because unfortunately, there's not a lot of information out there about gambling and problem gambling and how pervasive it is. And with our youth, there's a zero tolerance message with gambling because it's illegal until they're of age. And so this is an opportunity to kind of educate people about statistics when it comes to gambling among youth. It's far more pervasive than most people think. And youth sometimes are inadvertently involved in gambling activities, and maybe you don't label it as such. But we train them that anything that's of value that you're wagering is considered gambling when there's an opportunity to lose something. So it could be dollars, it could be your chores, it could be a basketball game, you know, and so our hope is to kind of drive that message home early. And so the freeze mob is actually doing a presentation today. Temple University is hosting for us a problem gambling summit for professionals, human service professionals, so they could start seeing the signs within clients and make the appropriate referrals to treatment, and also give prevention specialists and professionals the opportunity to start developing some programs around that.
You know, I think our audience knows we always tape our programs in advance. So we say today, I don't want people running down to university looking for it.
It would have happened already.
It would have happened already.
Okay, yeah, that was a part of that. And I know we're going to get ready here in a couple of minutes is to bring Angela on to talk about some experiences. Before we do, Jonathan, what can you say to other youth that may be viewing this show at this point about gambling, drugs and alcohol, tobacco, anything that you want to leave a message for them?
The Youth Advisory Board, the staff usually talk to us about a natural high and how even when you use drugs, that natural high is induced with that drug, and you can also have that natural high without doing it, like doing exercising or something fun with your friends. So I just say, get your own natural high. You don't have to use drugs and alcohol or even gambling to get that natural high. Why don't you just do it yourself?
All right, good stuff. Thank you. Appreciate that, Jonathan.
So I'm going to ask Angela Erdman to come on in now. And Jonathan, again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Great job, man.
Yes, indeed.
Come on up, Angela. Yes, indeed. We'll make the switch. All right. We ask Mavis to do a proper introduction of our very special guest, Angela.
This is Angela Erdman. She attends the Halifax Area School District, and she's been a part of our YAB for almost 2 years now. She is involved in many things, cheerleading, concert, band, and she's just a very active participant. And what's exciting is, you know, Jonathan attended school in the lower half of the county. Angela represents one of a number of youth that we have that come from the northern area and the school districts up there. So we try as much as possible to have representation from every single school district.
Good stuff. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you. So glad to have you.
Let's ask the same question that we asked of Jonathan. What brought you to, and why did you think it was important to be part of the Youth Advisory Board?
Well, I feel that everyone deserves a second chance, even if you're involved in drug and alcohol. And I feel like that I want to help people that, or peers, anybody, to get that second chance.
Did you find it as a problem in your area, in the Halifax area?
It's not a huge problem because Halifax is a small school, but I mean, there are peers that might do drugs and alcohol, but yeah, I just feel that I want to help them.
Good, very good. Okay, great.
Now you've participated in the camp as well, okay,
Yes.
and had a couple of days there. What was the most meaningful thing that you thought that really was impactful to you?
When we had the Minds of Men presentation that came in from Philadelphia, I felt that listening to their speech and how they came from, you know, doing drugs and how they are now, it was impactful to be like, wow, you know, I could help a person get from to doing drugs and alcohol to being settled.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think your peers, let's say you go into a school, you know, and here you are, you're still in school yourself, right?
Yes.
What grade are you rising
I'm
up
going to
in?
be a senior.
Senior, okay, that's good for you. And you go in and you're talking to younger people. Do you think the message resonates with younger people coming, especially from a person your age?
Yeah, I think it's more impactful when you hear it from another peer, because, you know, you could listen to an older adult and just kind of be like, oh, well, you know, that happens. But I think when it comes from somebody your age, it's more impactful.
Very good, yeah, very good.
And that's probably one of the reasons, too, that Sherry Clouser, who you mentioned earlier, considered bringing in the youth to really help assist and give you some way and direction of what you need to consider.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have plans, Mavis, in the future, how more you want to work with the Youth Advisory Board, some other opportunities?
Absolutely. Right now, we're planning a trip where they're going to be visiting other youth groups throughout the country and kind of looking at some of the things that they're doing. We're thinking about, in terms of capacity, right now, you know, Human Services is going through some difficult budget cuts. So we're looking and evaluating capacity and resources to be able to do more things. It's a challenge that the students, they fundraise, you know, I knock on doors and try my best to get funding to be able to continue these activities. We're thinking of maybe in the future partnering with other groups to kind of be able to expand our reach. We definitely want to get into some of the elementary schools.
Oh, that'd be
we
great.
believe in early intervention and we believe in the message hitting younger groups. So we want the students to be able to really develop a training arm of what they do and be able to really advocate and mentor younger students. So those are some of the short-term goals that we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Good stuff, yeah. You know, we have a dynamite speaker person coming on after your show, in fact, who has been out there in the hip-hop world, so to speak, Simone Green, who's written a best-selling book called Time Served, Her Life and Time at Death Row Records, and she has quite a story to tell. How often do you interface with people who are caught up in that whole thing, you know, that whole hip-hop culture? I see the pants down, I see people with rap music. Is that all part of it? Especially up in Halifax area, do you see a lot of that being pervasive in your area?
Well, Halifax is more of a small town, so I mean, we don't really have a whole bunch of, you know, hip-hop, but I do see it. I mean, it's there, but yeah.
I mean, we obviously see it. I think hip-hop music is pervasive among all cultures, whether you come from a rural or urban or suburban background. So it's very pervasive. One thing that we have developed is a training around pervasive drug subculture, particularly in music. And so we have a training where we're playing different songs and the students are identifying some of the messages in that music. A lot of our music today is laden with innuendos, direct references to drugs from some of our, you know, biggest and best artists. So it's very pervasive, and we're trying to help the kids kind of get their awareness up about the messages that are being sent to them and how they choose to then make decisions around that. So
I was excited also to hear what they mentioned about the, was it the Olympics and something like that?
Yes.
And they looked at commercials and all that.
Oh,
What was
yeah,
that
tell
all
us about that, yeah.
what we did as part of our leadership camp over the last couple of days is they had an opportunity to do something called the Improv Olympics at the Dutch Apple Theater. And one of the reasons why we have them do things like that is it helps with their presentation skills. It gives them an opportunity to kind of be able to speak in front of a large audience and use other muscles that they may not get to use in a typical school